Hi, everyone. This is Tina Tang from Iron Strong Fitness. And as you know, I am all about empowering women over 40 in their physical strength. And I like to interview people who I think will add more value to our lives in learning more about this period of our lives that we're going through. And I have a very special guest today. And before I introduce her, I just wanted to tell you that I actually use the services of her company. And so this is not solicited. It's just because I love the services so much. I was like, oh, I would love to interview the founder. So I have as my special guest, Angelo, who is the CEO and founder of Gennev.com. And I'm going to actually have Miss Jill talk about what the service is and you'll introduce yourself too, Jill.
Sounds great. Thank you, Tina, for having me today. I'm honored to be on your show. I'm even more honored that you selected Gennev as your place of care and women's health and wellness care that you look for from us. So thank you for being a customer, for trusting us. So a little bit about Gennev. Gennev, it's Gennev.com. We are an online virtual care platform for women as you go through menopause. So we offer telehealth access to health coaches and doctors. We also have a line of wellness products for symptom relief. And then we provide a lot of free education and community for women just going through this change, because our mission is to empower you to take control of your health and to feel amazing, to feel the best you can at this time of life.
I love it. I was trying to actually highlight you and I clicked on the wrong thing.
That's all right. That's all right. That's just
how to do this.
It's digital. We're all figuring it out as we go.
Let me see if I can, solo layout. Is that it? Oh, that's perfect. So why don't I do this? I think everyone can hear me. I'm going to ask the question and you're my solo. So I know one of the things that inspired the creation of Gennev was a 1,500 woman survey that you did. And I was wondering why you did that survey and what brought that survey about that was the precursor to starting the Gennev.com.
When I decided to start the company, so I started Gennev 5 years ago. We started it, and my co-founder, she had come from Neutrogena, and she had developed a lubricant for feminine dryness. And so we took that product and we started selling it online. And we knew that we wanted to better serve women in menopause, but we didn't quite know what that looked like or what women even needed. And so we decided, while we were also selling this product online, that we also would survey 1,500 women to just understand, how did you prepare for menopause? Where do you shop? What do you buy? What do you need? It was kind of our basic essence of the research. And the overriding insight in that research was to start the conversation. I was completely unprepared. Nobody talks about menopause, and no one was talking about menopause. And so we decided, okay, we need to start providing education and driving the conversation. And so that's what we ended up doing. We started interviewing anybody working with women in this demographic, whether they were a physician or a physical therapist or a health coach or someone making amazing supplements for women in menopause. And we started publishing information so that we were this modern, credible, evidence-based, research-backed, kind of digital platform for women to come to. And that's where we started from. And I'm glad that we started with the survey, because we're always grounded in what women need, because we're listening to you versus just thinking up what we think you need.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do, there we go.
Here we go. The two is perfect.
So my next, it's really nice because I was thinking, even sometimes when you're using, I'll just use a gym example. The bench is sometimes too high because it's created for men, and a lot of the things height-wise is created because there was a male who designed it. So it's really nice that you created this site with your actual users in mind. With the evolution of Gennev, I know you have three parts to Gennev, which is the telehealth, the education, and then the products. So from behind the scenes, what part of the site is used most by your members?
Mm-hmm. I would say it starts with the education. Every woman needs education. We see about 100,000 women coming to the site every month because of that education. Women are searching on their symptoms. And early on, we learned, this is something that we're kind of all discreet around. I'm in perimenopause, I'm 47, so I get it. I'm like on this journey with everyone else. And so you go online when something's not right or when you want to know more about something. And so the main way that women find us and also use our platform is the education. It's free, but then also the majority of users also take our menopause assessment, which is also free. It's a quiz that you can take that helps you understand where you're at in the menopause journey between perimenopause and post. And it just kind of helps you understand why you're experiencing the symptoms you're experiencing. We use that data then to better help direct you to the right telehealth or the right products that might be for you. So it all starts with education, and that's what we're grounded in, and that's what women use.
That makes sense. I wanted to mention your telehealth service because that's the one that I use the most, and it was because my actual gynecologist was not helpful, because when I was expressing the symptoms I had, he was like, "Well, insomnia, you just got to live with it." That was his solution. He had no solutions for me, so that's where I went to Gennev to find a menopause specialist, because I think even when someone's a gyno doesn't mean that they necessarily understand everything that you're going through. And actually, it's interesting. One of my clients thought she thought something was wrong with her. She even went to the psychiatric area of the hospital, like the second time she went, because she was experiencing symptoms when in her early 40s, and it turned out it was menopause, but her regular doctor, didn't know. And if it was someone who would ask the right questions, they would have known, because I think it was a bit early in her life to, I guess, be thinking about menopause symptoms. So yeah, it's nice to have a place where that's all they specialize in, which actually leads me to my next question, because I was curious, how do you find your menopause certified specialized doctors for your telehealth, and how do you vet them?
Yeah, it's a great question, because what you experienced with even your gynecologist, women experience all the time. Like doctors, even gynecologists in many cases, don't receive any education on menopause in their formal education. And that's the problem. Women's health in menopause just hasn't been a priority, even in healthcare and academia. And we're working to change that, to try to influence that. When we decided to start offering telehealth services, we said, okay, we've got to improve access to care, and we've got to find the experts. So we're very selective in the team of physicians and health coaches that we work with. Criteria number one, obviously, we are 100% evidence-based, medical care, as well as behavioral care with our health coaches. So everything we do is science-backed. But when we have gone out to find our physician team, our chief medical officer, Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue, she's a gynecologist. She's also North American Menopause certified. We really look for that certification, which is just a distinction that says you understand menopause, you've passed a certain bar of knowledge and experience in this area of women's health. And from there, we've gone out to find these people in terms of using physician network groups on Facebook, friends of friends. We now have physicians coming to us because we are known for menopause care. And if they want to specialize in that, they're like, I want to work for a company like Gennev, because we're serving the women who need this kind of care. So we're very selective. Obviously, they've got to kind of pass our protocols as well, in addition to believing in the NAMs, or the North American Menopause Certified Principles. We do have some protocols, just again, around our care model. We believe that this part of women's health, certainly there's a lot that medical care can do, and even prescription support, if that's something that's right for the woman. But we also believe that behavioral health is a big part of feeling better in this phase of life, and better sleep, like you were talking about. And so, it is the nutrition and the exercise and maybe supplements and other behavioral tactics that are going to impact the thing that you're suffering from. So that's what I love about what you do, Tina. Like, you're just like living that. And that's a big part of our care model. So our physicians also believe in that, and they work hand in hand with our health coaches. So it's a holistic care model.
I like that. And I think what stood out in my mind is for you to get all the health, you have like a a monthly, which was quite affordable. It's like 85 a month. Is that right? And literally, like I'm reminding everyone, I'm not paid. This is just completely my own personal curiosity, which is, to learn more. I wanted to point out that the pricing of your telehealth, it was incredibly fair, because normally I'm in the New York, New Jersey area. So if you were to see your doctor, if you didn't have health insurance, the doctor would cost probably between $200-$300 just for a visit. So I thought it was extremely accessible, that a 20-minute visit with an actual gynecologist. I actually met with Dr. Dunsmore-Sue, and so that's 55, I think, for 20 minutes. And then I was blown away at that price. So, and even if it's 85 for, I think that's the other option, that for 30 minutes, I know for sure any doctor that I've seen that that's within my network, they see me for 5 minutes. So I think that is really important, that here the cost is less than it would be if you didn't have health insurance. And then number two, that you're actually talking to the doctor much longer than any typical doctor's appointment. I just wanted you to know that stood out.
I appreciate you mentioning that, Tina, because that was a big deal when we created our appointment types. We heard from women like, I need time. This is a conversation with the doctor. I need time to talk about what I'm going through. And our physicians say the same. You can't get through it in 10 minutes or even 15. And so, and again, we've got the 20-minute appointment format and the 30-minute. A lot of time women will use the 30-minute if it's a first appointment, and then the 20-minute as a follow-up, just because they don't need as much time. It's however you want to use it. But we do, like currently our model is, we don't take insurance. It is pay. However, if you have FSA or HSA as part of your your insurance plan with your employer, or even just part of your insurance benefits, you can oftentimes get the appointments reimbursed through those, and we'll provide you a medical statement to support that. So we help patients with that every week, but it is an option in terms of just that affordability aspect and reimbursement.
No, it's I know I keep talking about this because it just stands out in my mind. So even if, like, one of the reasons I went to use the telehealth services, my gyno also was in the old school belief that hormone replacement therapy is just automatically going to cause cancer. And so that's why I went to, had my first appointment with Dr. Dunsmore-Sue, who was more current on the facts. And I think because she specializes, or the doctors specialize in menopause, they're much more informed on what's the current research versus something older, that just old ingrained research. That's how I felt that with my gyno. So because this is your specialty in terms of, your industry, what's one of the best books or favorite books of yours on menopause, someone who's going through menopause?
I think I often turn to, I love hearing women's stories, and I love first account stories of them going through menopause, because it just humanizes it. And I look towards women who also have done their research in terms of evidence-based research, not kind of a lot of the things that women get pitched or sold around compounding or things that just aren't proven. And so a book I love is Menopocalypse by Amanda Thebe. I think she's hilarious. She's British. She has just, she gets away with humor in bits that I typically wouldn't, but I appreciate her humor. She's so honest. She's incredibly researched. She's worked with some of the best. And I think that she's a great example for women. She experienced perimenopause quite young. I think she started when she was 38. And so it's a very real account story, and it makes you feel normal. But she also gives you a lot of great resources in it. So Menopocalypse is the name of the book. But I kind of tend to direct people to that one. I love it just because, again, it's written by her, but it's got a lot of evidence-based bits in it that, it's a resource guide, if you will.
Oh, I love it. That's yeah, and she's a fitness coach too, which is pretty cool. And I was so curious with the supplements and products you have on your site. I guess, how do you find them, create them, test them? vet them?
Yeah, great question. So some of our supplements we have formulated, or one of them we have, and the others we've private labeled. The one we have formulated, and I always show it because I have it sitting on my desk. It's our Vitality menopause supplement, and it's a daily 5-pill pack that you take. There's about 12 different supplements in this that we have compressed into 5 daily tablets. One of our physicians, Dr. Wendy Ellis, she's a naturopathic doctor that works hand in hand with Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue, so has that evidence-based background. She's been prescribing supplements for women for about 20 years in menopause. And so she took her research and her experience around the symptoms that women complain about most, whether that is sleep, achy joints, hot flashes, cognitive fogginess, and just overall kind of blah, feeling stress, anxiety, like heaviness, and how she formulated this. And this is kind of our top selling supplement. How she formulated it was based on all the things she's heard for all these years from women. And now women who take it, they feel, it benefits, oftentimes reporting within 2 weeks or so. In terms of selecting the manufacturer that creates this, we actually work with a local one. I'm based in Washington State. And so they're just north of here. They're FDA compliant. We really did our due diligence, both she and I, around who is GMP certified, who's got the kind of third-party testing practices that really ensure that the supplements are made well. And then finally, it's the quality of the ingredients. This particular product, it's pharma grade supplement material that goes into these pills or into these capsules. And again, it's something that we didn't cut corners, but we love this company. So then we also work with them on our other supplements like our magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3. Obviously, we don't formulate those, but they again source them and bottle them for us in a way that just meets the bar that we've set.
It sounds like you're very thoughtful of all the choices that you have on the site. And then this one, because I know you've got a lot of great free education on the site. Is there one article, because I know, as a business owner, you can see what articles click through the most. What's the most popular clicked through article that you have on the site so that we can check it out?
Interestingly, the one about joint pain, which as a fitness coach, you get this. Like, I bet you deal with this with your clients all the time. Women really are struggling with joint pain. And it seems like you don't really correlate that with menopause. But, as your hormones start to shift, it does impact our joints. You're nodding your head. And so that's the number one, interestingly. Menopause solutions or menopause supplements is another very popular one. Women are looking for supplements and vitamins around menopause. Those are kind of the top 2.
That makes total sense. Yeah, but I think the achy joints is not something people necessarily think, or women necessarily think about when they're like, oh, is it age? But it's so hormonal related too. Sorry, looking at my last question. It was, as we all probably know, going through the 3 greatest menopause symptoms, the challenges are insomnia, energy levels, and weight gain. And I was wondering, for your members, how they use the site for those 3. Is it more educational? Like what? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Oh, totally. And those are the top 3: sleep, energy, weight. Again, typically they find us based on searching on weight gain in menopause or belly fat. We hear a lot. We also hear a lot of fatigue. Just feel blah. And so basically, again, oftentimes they'll land on an article, and within that article, then we see women clicking through, whether it is to a product or to speak with a health provider. On those 3, with weight, sleep, and energy or fatigue, oftentimes we see first women going to one of our health coaches to just say, I'm feeling this. Is it something to be concerned about? What can I do? Because there's a lot of behavioral factors around your life and your nutrition and your activity that you can do to minimize the sleep, the weight, and the energy or the fatigue that you're feeling. They often go to our health coaches. They can inform women a lot on the supplement side too, around what to take, when to take it during the day. Our Vitality supplement has a lot of B vitamin. I know I struggle with fatigue and I love it because it does give me some energy. It's got B6 and B12. So typically women will talk to a health coach. But again, it really depends on the user. In your case, I know, Tina, you worked with Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue. Our physicians are incredibly experienced across the lifestyle change that needs to happen too. They're working with the whole woman. And the thing about even if a woman comes to Gennev.com for energy, joint or weight problems or sleep problems, when she does talk to one of our practitioners, whether it's a doctor or a health coach, they're going to look at the whole you and they're going to ask you questions that go beyond the actual symptom that you brought to them. Because again, in menopause, the hormonal shifts that are happening, they're going to come out in multiple ways in your body. Sometimes you're going to see those things and sometimes you're not, or you think it's something else. And so my encouragement for women is, if you are experiencing any of those top three, or you're just curious about when am I going to be in menopause, or should I start thinking about this, like with my bone health and my brain health and my heart health, come and talk to one of our providers. They're incredible in terms of prevention, even if something just isn't radically feeling wrong at this point.
So this brings me to my last question, because I think a lot of times we don't want to talk about symptoms or even mention it, because I know my mom never talked about it. So I was like, oh, did she go through menopause? And when I asked her as I was going through it, she goes, yes. And she pulled off this like calendar from the 80s and 90s. Like, it happened. Like, what? I didn't even hear about it. So I think the older generation, there's probably like a stigma or some kind of ingrained in society as women, you don't talk about your periods, you don't talk about menopause. So I'm curious, as someone who has a site all about menopause, what you think, how you think the stigma around menopause or just being around, these changes in our lives will change, or what will look like, in the future now that there's more digital access.
I think it's like sessions like this, Tina, we're starting to talk about it. And so you're part of the change that's happening, which is great. I do think you're right. Like generations, the boomer generation, it was hush, hush. Even I'm in the Gen X generation. We're kind of emerging to say, no, I want the data. I want the information. I want to feel good. But I think the millennial generation, things will really start to change, because what I admire about them is that they want information. They're more vocal. They're less inhibited, around age or around the things in life that tend to hold us back as women. And they're rising up a little bit more boldly, and I appreciate that. So I hope that we're paving the way and giving, starting that early foundation of access to help and resources and starting to talk about it, because it's coming. One other factor, and love it or hate it, celebrities, they're aging and they're starting to talk about it too. And it matters. It matters when people that are in the media and famous, are also maybe mentioning menopause, or at least thriving in their 50s and even 60s. Like, we need role models, and that's starting to change too, which is great to see.
That's true. You're right, because that higher profile people. I can't remember the name of the comedian. She's on SNL. Her stand-up, she's in her 50s. I think she's 53. She talks about her hot flashes and all these different kind of things, and she's funny. So it kind of adds a little bit more normalcy to being that age and being funny and just kind of making light of it. So that's good. It's hopeful. Miss Jill Angelo, thank you so much for coming on here to share. So for anyone who, I guess, is looking for the telehealth, the products, and the education, Gennev.com is definitely, I'm not trying to be a commercial, but it is definitely, I think, a one-stop shop when you're just trying to navigate the difficulties of physical changes.
Yeah. Thank you, Tina. I know I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to join you today. I'm glad we were able to give you some help and provide some help for you. And certainly if women have questions or if they want to try before they buy or whatever, like there's options on the site. We really want to serve women of all economic capabilities and needs. So come check us out.
That's right. And I'll put it in the description below. Thank you, Ms. Jill Angelo, and everyone. We'll see you soon, hopefully on the Gennev site. And see you next time.